Now, at this hour, more tsunami advisories are being cancelled along the US west coast, hours after a major earthquake rocked eastern Russia. The 8.8 magnitude quake fueled tsunami waves into Japan, Hawaii, California, and other western US states. As the ground shook, panicked sea lions were sent scurrying into the water. Look at this. Nearly 2 million people were evacuated to higher ground in Japan, some of them onto the rooftop of this building, and there were no reports of any serious injuries. Well, huge waves reached more than 1.5 meters at one point in Hawaii. Tsunami alerts sent many people scrambling for higher ground, including some cruise ship passengers.
We were up visiting Volcano National Park and saw the tsunami warning go off on our phones, and then one of the tour operators from our cruise ship, the Pride of America, said, "Everyone back to the ship, fast as you can. Ship's leaving at 3:30, and well, we knew at that point we weren't going to make it, so it's pulling away now."
So what we want to know is just how dangerous was this powerful earthquake? Joining me now is Tammy Mulder, a seismologist at the Geological Survey of Canada. Great to have you with us. Thank you for your time. So this earthquake we've been hearing all today was the 6th biggest on record. I heard one seismologist describe it as the size of the state of Connecticut. Of course, the tsunami threat is not yet over, but given the size and the reach of this earthquake, why wasn't it more deadly?
Well, this earthquake was quite remote, actually, so I think that there was not a lot of population nearby to experience the shaking effects of this earthquake. The way the tsunami waves propagated, first of all, the directions they propagated in and the actual amplitude or height of those waves was smaller than one could have expected. So that was very fortunate for all of us who were at risk from the tsunami watch. There's certain shadow zones too. When the energy comes out from an earthquake, it goes out in certain very specific directions depending on how the rupture happens. And that also applies to the tsunami itself. The energy goes across the ocean focused in certain directions. And those, fortunately, were not too bad for the west coast of North America, which is where I live. And the same for Japan and Alaska. Much of Alaska was partly shielded by the trailing edge of islands coming off of Alaska.
Is that in part why we didn't see the sort of huge towering tsunami waves like the ones that struck Japan in 2011 and more sort of witnessed the scale of this? Because I think what was stunning to all of us was just how far this stretched, you know, all the way from Russia down to Chile and French Polynesia. But the reason we didn't see those huge towering waves on land is because, as you say, it was too far out to sea to begin with?
Not that it was too far out to sea, but it was in a more remote area further north where there's not as much population off of the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia. In addition, this was a magnitude 8, not over magnitude 9. So the previous ones have been magnitude 9.1, the Japan earthquake. And this is a logarithmic scale, so things ramp up substantially from, magnitude 9 is 10 times more than a magnitude 8, for example. Now, we are in the high 8s. So that is one reason it was not as big as a 9.1. So the waves that are generated are smaller. And the whole reason a wave gets generated is the bottom of the ocean floor will move either up or down as a result of the ground's movement. And depending on how that happens, that moves the whole column of water above it from the ocean floor up to the surface. And then that propagates outwards. So its potential, the water depth could have been a little bit shallower here, generating a slightly smaller wave. Yeah. There was less rupture, less horizontal, like the length of the fault zone itself was not as long as it was for the Japan earthquake. A lot of these magnitude 9 earthquakes, you can get a rupture of 800 to 1,000 kilometers. That was not quite this long in this case. So the subsequent tsunami and amount of movement on the ocean floor is also less.
So how possible is it to predict an earthquake of this magnitude? Are there any signs that sort of precede a quake like this?
There's been a lot of tsunami modeling work done. The Tsunami Warning Center does quite a bit of modeling of all these tsunamis based for all the subduction zones around the Pacific, and for various magnitudes of earthquakes. So they have a fairly good idea of where the waves may hit and what the magnitude may be. But this all depends on the initial verification. Usually there's a series of buoys called dart buoys around the Pacific Ocean, and they're set up to capture these first waves that come out. And capturing that first wave leads to one set of modeling results. And then as the wave gets recorded at various tidal stations, that provides further information that goes into further modeling in real time to continue to estimate what wave heights might be as that wave propagates.
Well, it is a relief that no one was hurt or no one was killed really in the wake of this earthquake, and it is quite fascinating really to understand how it happens. Tammy Mulder, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you.